on a sandy beach at sunset. You could have seen me playing piano in the hotel bar.
He's an award-winning songwriter, producer, recording artist. He has won a Grammy. He has won a Juno. That's a big award in our country, working with Bryan Adams and Ivor Novello. He's been nominated for a Golden Globe, a Critics' Choice. Continuing with our music spotlight around the world, it is a great pleasure to welcome England's own, although he's in New York. Eliot Kennedy joins us right now from New York. Eliot, welcome to our city tonight.
Thank you, Jim. It's great to be with you.
Great to have you, sir. Hey, I got to ask you right off the bat. As I said, you make your home in Sheffield, where you have Steelworks Studio, but you're in New York right now because you are preparing a new Broadway play. Am I right about that?
That's right. This will be my second musical set to go to Broadway. My first was a musical called Finding Neverland. And this is something we've been writing for just over 2 years, called Empire State Dreams, which is kind of based on, do you know that iconic photograph of the guys eating lunch high above New York?
Yes, yes.
It's kind of it's a musical about that photograph. It's about the immigrants that built New York and a celebration of diversity, and it's great. We're loving life and having a great time. We've got a great director, great producer. So we've just been here for the last 3 days, sort of getting in the reeds of it and then making the changes and part of the process, but we're having a great time.
I love that photo because it's back in the day when, attaching yourself to the beam? No. You're just sitting on the beam high up eating your lunch. It's a great shot. Eliot, you first came onto my radar, boy, time flies, over 25 years ago when you were the guy responsible for the always important second single follow-up to Wannabe by the Spice Girls. You wrote Say You'll Be There, which I've been humming again all day since I knew I was going to be talking to you. But what I love is you were there at the beginning with this worldwide phenomenon where the young ladies show up in Sheffield at your place, and all of a sudden you have adopted 5 sisters.
It was literally like that. We had set a date to work together, and what I didn't realize is in the interim, they had decided to fire their manager. And because he wouldn't give them my phone number, they just drove to Sheffield, which is 160 miles north of where they were in London, and descended on my doorstep and said, we're desperate to work with you, but we haven't got anywhere to stay. So literally, I adopted 5 sisters, which anyone with sisters will know is not an easy thing to do. But do you know what? They were incredible, and their energy was amazing. It was literally like, having 5 hurricanes move into your house. But it was also so inspiring. We got so much done. We had a ball, and I'd got a little studio in my house, and we just did everything there, wrote songs, made records, and still have amazing memories from that time. So yeah, it's a crazy story, but yeah, it was something. All of a sudden having 5 young girls move into your house. I lived on my own, thank goodness, because I don't know if my partner would have been able to deal with it.
It's a great tribute to the work you've done when you talk about the diversification of the artists. As I mentioned, Spice Girls. You won a Juno, our country's music award, working with Bryan Adams on the song When You're Gone, which was a massive hit around the world. But you've worked with, Spice Girls, Bryan Adams, Celine Dion, Lulu. To go from Spice Girls, and you also work with Shirley Bassey. That must be a real joy for you to work with such a diversification of talented artists.
Do you know what? When I started my career, it was my intention to not repeat myself too much, to not be pigeonholed as a guy that does this. So I always saw my job as a songwriter was to get in the heart and mind of the artist that was going to be singing the song. That my job was not to sound like me, but rather sound like them. So it's a challenge because you have to sort of remove any ego or anything that you think is how you want it to go, and really try to get into their vocabulary and make it feel like what they're saying is from their heart. And that's the challenge of a songwriter. And it was always my intention. And the thing I'm most happy about looking back on my career is that all of those artists are quite diverse, from Spice Girls to Celine Dion in the same year, and it not sound like each other. Through the 90s, I did a lot of girl bands, pop and boy bands and things like that, because that was what was happening. But I'm pleased that none of them kind of sounded the same. That was my biggest thing, and it only comes from having this lifelong love affair with music and trying to sort of fall in love with as many styles of music as possible. And that's helped me be able to do that, to be able to sort of move from sound to sound without it sounding the same all the time.
I've got a few seconds left, Eliot. One of the things I wanted to mention, you released a Christmas single in late November called This Christmas. By the way, if they were doing Love Actually 20 years later, this song would be in it. But I wanted to mention, in all seriousness, that you wrote this song because, and it's not unique to your country, but you were just fed up with the fact that so many of your countrymen and women have the option of, or the choice between paying their heating bill and getting food, and you wanted to make this song to help those people out. A few seconds left, actually. Tell us about This Christmas, the single.
So it was exactly that. You wake up and you read the newspapers and you're hearing that families that are just like everyone else's families. We're all the same, and they're struggling to do the most basic things like feed their kids or keep them warm. As a songwriter, we can only change the world one song at a time. So I just thought if I could use my contacts, I can use, whatever I can do we'll write a song, we'll make some noise, we'll start a charity event, we'll do whatever we can. Not just necessarily about the money, but just about the message, about letting people know that people like you are out there and they're really struggling. And if you can donate, please donate. I chose a great charity, National Energy Action, and they don't only help people with money, but they actually send caseworkers in to help people manage their finances better and get more out of their finances. So it's a great charity. And it was great, and we did really well with it, and we got a lot of radio and a lot of support. I had wonderful social media support. So it was a nice thing to do, but listen, like I say, as a songwriter, all we can do is do what we do when we fall out of bed, and that's write songs and make records.
Well, you do that very well, sir, and I should say you certainly kick ass on stage yourself as a performer. Eliot, thank you for joining us. I know you got a hectic schedule in New York. Appreciate you joining us and telling us a little more about yourself. I also want to thank Nick and Whitney, your PR people, who really do a great job of making this all happen. Safe travels, sir.
Jim, I appreciate everything.
Thank you. We should say ice hockey fan, folks. I wanted to talk British soccer, but he said no, he's an ice hockey fan. Thank you, Eliot. Best of luck on Broadway.
Take care, guys.
Cheers.